Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your TNA pay-per-view called Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. But first, some brief TNA news. Hulk Hogan turned 59 on August 11th. He was born 1953, and of course his real name Terry Bollea. Hogan is recovering from his latest surgery in which he had bone spurs removed from his hip and knee. Storyline explanation for his absence is that he was attacked by Aces and Eights faction. And speaking of Aces and Eights, the first name revealed on Impact was by the name of Bane. Unknown if he's the leader or what. Okay, for legendary pro wrestler Roland Red Bastion died on Saturday at the age of 81 following a long bout with Alzheimer's disease. And you can read more on the passing at slam.canoe.ca/slam/wrestling ////05/05/02/137526.html. Bastion was the president of the Cauliflower Alley Club from the year 2000 to 2007. His in-ring career was before my time, but I recall him making an occasional appearance on AWA television in the 80s. The Slam article written by Greg Oliver is highly recommended, and it also provides a great detail about Bastion's life and feature quotes from a number of his friends and family called peers. The following matches are advertised for the ICW Bloody Mania 6 event that took place on Castle in Rock, Illinois, and will air live on iPay-per-view. And if you're not familiar with JCW, remember WCW a faction called the Insane Clown Posse? Well, there you go. I think they made a couple of WWE appearances. First match was advertised as Too Tough Tony versus Congo Kong for the JCW title. Corporal Robinson versus the Rude Boy. Vampiro versus Officer Colt Cabana. Everybody knows who Colt Cabana is. And John Morrison versus Matt Hardy. And Matt Hardy replaced an injured or returning to wrestling Hurricane, Shane Helms, as he had to pull out from the advertising three-way due to transportation issues. So that was scheduled a three-way dance. Well, and what it ended up is Joe Mo versus the Matt Hardy. And the next match was the Ring Riders versus the Headbangers. I guess that's Mosh and what's his name? The other Headbanger. And versus Madman Pondo and Necro Butcher versus the Rock and Roll Express in a fatal four-way tag title match for the Jugalo Championship Wrestling tag titles. And also, Scott Steiner and Vader tagged together against some mystery opponents. And a battle royal featuring Carlito, Chris Masters, Bobby Lashley, Sean Waltman, Eugene, Shockwave the Robot, and Zach Gowen, and a few more. And now for what everybody's been waiting for, Hardcore Justice results from earlier in the night, August the 12th, 2012. The Loaded Show is being held as part of the gathering. Okay, not the pay-per-view. Okay, the Loaded Show from the Jugalo Championship event had been taking place all weekend. The broadcast team featured Kevin Gill and Insane Clown Posse's Shaggy Too Dope. ICP's Violent J is the commissioner. And you can order the event for just $14.95 via their website, psychopathiclive.com/PsyLive, PSYLIVE. And now for your Hardcore Justice results. From Orlando in the Impact Zone, a video package opened the show. Pyro goes off on the stage, but at least it didn't catch on fire like SmackDown did a couple weeks ago. Take it back, it was Raw a couple weeks ago. Mike Tenay and Taz checks in on from the perch and ran through the pay-per-view lineup. They showed the Bound for Glory series standings graphic, which was now had a line below the top four. Today noted that the top four men will meet at No Surrender next month. Wow, I like the simple addition of the line since the series included with a 4-man tournament. I still wish they would add the total number of matches that each man has had so far, though they are showing that on the TNA website. Match number 1, Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez versus Kid Cash and Gunner. The heels jumped Chavo and Hernandez to start the match. Chavo took control and performed his usual Eddie Guerrero move on Kid Cash, who then tagged in Gunner very briefly. The heels used quick tags to work over Chavo. And here's the finish. Hernandez takes a hot tag from Chavo just before 8 minutes in the match. He hits a big shoulder block on both opponents as the crowd pops. Later, Hernandez formed his big dive over the top rope onto Gunner on the floor. Chavo tagged Hernandez during the dive. Hernandez hits the slingshot shoulder block on Cash, and then Chavo followed up with a frog splash for the win. And that match took 9 minutes 35 seconds. A basic tag match to start off the show with heels working over the baby faces for the majority of the match. And then a cool finish sequence with Chavo tagging himself in as Hernandez is diving over the top rope. And the live crowd was hot for the finish. A good crowd-pleasing opener. Okay, then you get the Bound for Glory series video airing. The announcers discussed the leaderboard and the graphic was shown again. RVD made the first entrance for the Fatal 4-Way match. Pope's music played, because the Pope is pimping. But he didn't come out. They played it again, and he didn't come out. They went backstage, and the Aces and Eights faction were shown beating them up. As my feed went out on the internet show, and they slammed his shoulder using a fence door. The angle was basic stuff, but Pope did a really good job of crying out in agony to sell the effects. So instead of a Fatal 4-Way, you get a triple threat. And Rob Van Dam versus Mr. Anderson versus D'Angelo De Niro, never showed, versus Magnus in a Fatal 4-Way. Falls count anywhere. Bound for Glory series match with the winner getting 20 points. Again, no Pope to start the match, but we'll list him anyway off the chance that he runs out late. Anderson acknowledged that he attacked on Pope and said it was one less bitch. I got worried about that being live. Well, it's pay-per-view, so not many people watch it. That's the GBYN. No, normally Global Wrestling, GBYWN, Global Backyard Wrestling Network, all online. They don't play TNA pay-per-views because they discriminate against TNA. Shame on you, discrimination. And there's people on that site that are challenging any backyard wrestling fans and also competitors to come to their area and they will battle you. But we'll find out soon if I can return to wrestling myself, which is soon on the back burner. Okay. The crowd was hot for RVD as he played to them. Magnus attacked RVD from behind and knocked him to ringside. Anderson and Magnus started things off in the ring action. Van Dam recovered and returned to the match. He caught Magnus with an odd kick. sent him over the top rope. RVD's thumb pointing a bit came back to haunt him once again as Anderson bounced off the ring apron. Oh, RVD. They don't call it dope for nothing. It's hard to type with Cheetos on your fingers. Wait, was that is that what I'm writing about? Okay. Well, back to the wrestling, as if RVD's thumb pointing routine costing him once wasn't bad enough. It actually happened a second time. He did it again, third time on the entrance ramp, only to have Magnus clip his leg from behind. RVD then came back, hit a 5-star frog splash on Anderson, and RVD went to cover, but Magnus pulled him out of the ring and roughed him up on the floor. Give me a effing chair, Magnus was complaining to somebody. Could be heard saying by the camera quite a bit. He's hardcore. Van Dam, who had a bloody elbow at this point, kicked the chair that Magnus ended up getting into his face and pinned him on. He did the Van Daminator on the top of the stage to win the match, as the Pope never came out, thus selling an injury and a beatdown from the Aces and Eights. RVD defeated Mr. Anderson and Magnus to earn 20 points for the Bound for Glory series matches. And if you haven't seen RVD lately, yeah, he's getting a little bit chubbier. Warning. Marijuana, when smoking marijuana, it makes you hungry afterwards. Van Dam was working hard, and we're really enjoying his performances again, even though the character hasn't evolved in over a decade. But I really wish he'd save the thumb pointing, leading him to looking like a doofus for his next heel run. The announcers then spoke at ringside and noted that RVD's win moved him up the ladder into second place in the BFG series standings. Backstage segment, Jeremy Borash and security swept the building, and Aces and Eights were nowhere to be found. Borash interviewed Madison Rayne backstage, who said Miss Tessmacher can't beat her when the title is on the line. She blew a kiss into the camera that was directed at Earl Hebner. And I predicted this 2 weeks ago with the screw job that Hebner's been helping Madison win. So there's your spoiler for the pay-per-view. Match number 3, Devon versus Kazarian for the TNA TV title. I believe this match was added to the pay-per-view earlier in the day. Kazarian stalled before the match until Devon slingshotted himself into the ring. The defeat went out again. And they went to ringside, and Devon threw water on Kazarian when it came back on, and doused one of the cameras at the same time. Kazarian tried to dive off the ring steps and slipped. Fortunately, the spot called for Devon to catch and slam him. Kazarian got a flurry of offense with a springboard leg drop off the second rope, and later connected with a nice drop kick. Very similar to his other character when he had the mask on with Suicide. Well, Devon came back with a spine buster and scored the clean pin. Announcers played it up as Devon avenging the tag team match loss on Impact when he teamed with Garrett Bischoff in a losing effort against Kazarian and Daniels previously. And so Devon won the match in 8 minutes 35 seconds to retain the TV title. Taz put it over as a hell of a match. It didn't hold my interest. The live crowd was flat at times, but they came in live for Devon getting the win. It felt like a pay-per-view filler. That was about it. Yeah, during that feed go out, I was searching online for a certain entrance as my future references. When I do the Billy and Chuck tag team, when I was trying to get Billy his entrance when he was Mr. Assman. So, if you want to see those videos, comment on this one. And I will secretly give you the website for that. It's also on YouTube. Okay, well, we get the video showcasing Earl Hebner screwing help screwing Madison to get her wins. And we get the knockouts bitch match. We got the Miss Tessmacher versus Madison Rayne for the knockouts title. Earl Hebner was the referee, of course. And like I said 2 weeks ago, I predicted this. Madison has a good offense with a fisherman suplex and then wrapping her knees around Tessmacher, around her head, and driving her face into the mat repeatedly, as most men would love to have that happen. Tessmacher came back and went for a cover, but Madison had her foot on the rope. Tessmacher questioned Earl whether Madison had her foot on the rope or not. Madison rolled her up again and held the ropes for leverage to get the win. So Madison Rayne cheated and defeated Tessmacher to win the Knockouts Bitch title in 4 minutes 55 seconds. Okay. That's your one with a leverage pin. A giant groan for the finish. Tessmacher looked as dopey as RVD for questioning the rope break, given that Madison had her foot on the rope the entire time from one count on. A big groan for the title change as well. Creative seems to be having more fun with the Madison and Earl pairing than the fans are. That being said, the video package that aired prior to the match was fun. The music was corny and it had fun footage as Earl doing his Bret Hart imitations routine. Okay, backstage segment with Jeremy Borash again, interviewing a paranoid Bully Ray, supposedly, who said he was keeping his back against the wall of the interview set so he could see that no one could jump him from behind. And Ray showed an ace card and an 8 card and said it was in the window of his truck today. He said he's the baddest mofo they could target. He turned his attention to hyping his 4-way dance match for later. Don't they use 5 cards rather than 2? Either they switched it, or that could be a clue that someone is messing with Ray. Or is Ray messing with everybody else? Highlights aired of the recent attacks by the Aces and Eights faction. Match number 5. James Storm versus Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy versus Robbie E. And Robbie T is at ringside for the match for 20 points for the Bound for Glory series. Robbie T was not at ringside, but later on came out. Massive chance of refund started in protest of Robbie T not appearing. Okay, I made that up just to get some about the chance. Storm and Hardy teamed up to suplex Bully in the intent of putting him through the table. In the middle of the ring, Robbie E moved the table, but he didn't move it enough because Ray's arm broke the corner of the table. Ray writhed in pain as he was heading out of the ring. Robbie was likely fearing for his life, and the referee on the floor quickly ruled that he didn't go through the table. The cheers of the crowd were not ignored as Robbie T ran out to a massive ovation at 8 minutes 35 seconds in the match. Yeah, we made the ovation part up too. He was knocked down by Hardy outside the ring, but it gave Robbie E a chance to attack Hardy from behind. Robbie E tried to jump off the ropes to drive Hardy through the table on the floor, but Hardy moved out of the way and Robbie put himself through the table. Taz immediately explained that the match doesn't end when a wrestler puts himself through a table. Ray was heading up to drive Storm through the table when the Aces and Eights faction showed up. Ray was distracted and walked into a last call super kick. One of the Aces and Eights members gave Storm the thumbs down. He acted like he wanted to fight them, but they left ringside again. Storm and Hardy exchanged offense. Hardy got the better of it and hit the twist of fate. Aces and Eights showed up again, which this time I actually saw myself. The other one I didn't quite see, as my feed kept on going in and out, in and out, and in and out. And I caught the second appearance from the Aces and Eights. And as Storm and Hardy exchanged the offense, Hardy got the better of it and hit the twist of fate. Aces and Eights showed up for the second time. Storm hit the last call on the distracted Hardy. However, Ray returned in the ring and took out Storm before powerbombing Hardy through the table to win the match. Again, I believe Bully Ray may be involved in that, playing mind games. So Bully Ray gets 20 points as he defeated Jeff Hardy, James Storm, and Robbie E. in 14 minutes to earn 20 points in the BFT series. Ray was writhing in pain after the match again. He was holding his elbow while lying on the entrance ramp. He wasn't favoring it during the finishing segments, but he appeared to be in significant pain afterwards. Ray and Devon winning tonight would seem to indicate that they either have or are on the verge of signing new TNA contracts. But we'll have to just wait and see. Because a little birdie told me that they may be returning to WWE. What a way and what a time for a tag team division to fire up in WWE. Possibly be 25-time tag team champions as soon as they make their debut again. Well, we'll see if that happens. Backstage segment again with Jeremy Borash asking Austin Aries why he gave up his rematch clause. He said it's because he's not going to need a rematch. He said he's going to prove that he's the greatest man who ever lived, and he's a respectable champion. He said Bobby Roode isn't the A-double level, or at the A-double level. And they set up a video package of the X Division title match. And it's none other than Zema Ion with his hairspray versus Kenny King. The next Shelton Benjamin for professional wrestling. And as for the X Division title, Zema Ion came in spraying his hair and then set the can in the corner. Well, referee Earl Hebner watched him set it down, yet didn't seem to have any problem with it. Are we supposed to be wondering whether Ion and Earl were romantically involved? Probably not. Ion had the first prolonged period of offense. The crowd was flat for most of it, but they were really well into King's offense when he went on his first flurry. And a good Let's Go Kenny chant started, and Ion regained control. Late in the match, King hooked Ion's shoulders away with his legs in the corner, but Ion slammed him down in that position and pinned him. Zema Ion defeated Kenny King to retain the X Division title, 11 minutes 5 seconds. Well, a fairly decent X Division match with some fun spots, and at least half of the crowd was enthusiastic for Kenny King, and then that brought into his near falls. It's on creative to give King more direction and fans more of an incentive to connect with him. And again, nothing from the gut check winners that's been going on. Backstage, Jeremy Borash again interviewed Samoa Joe, who said he's not worried about the aces and eights. He said no country wins a war on two fronts. He said that if they mess with him, they'll go until one of them isn't around anymore. Joe said he was going to take the envelope and win his 20 points. Announcers reviewed the BFT series standings again. Storm is in first, RVD in second, Joe is in third, with 1 point separating him and RVD. And Angle and Bully Ray are trailing for tied for fourth. Okay, match number 7, AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels in a ladder match for the 20 point Bound for Glory series. Well, I'd say Jack in the Box matches. Joe went on the offense first. Daniels missed a moonsault, and Joe continued to get the better of his opponents. Joe called a diving Daniels at ringside, but then AJ followed up with a dive that took Joe down and ended his run of offense. Short time later, Daniels brought the first ladder into the ring and rammed it into Joe's gut. Daniels took a bow only to run into Joe's one-arm slam onto the ladder. Joe made the first play for the envelope, but Styles cut him off quickly. Angle got his moment to shine with some offense on Styles, but Daniels cut it off with a ladder shot below the belt, and then threw Kurt to ringside at 6 minutes 50 seconds. Joe made another play for the envelope, but Angle ran in and caught him with a belly-to-belly suplex. The fans were caught up in the Olympic spirit and chanted USA to Angle, a cool moment that Angle seemed to appreciate. A short time later, Styles pushed the upright ladder toward the Angle, who caught it with his face. Ouch. Don't know if that was scripted or not. Angle got involved again by suplexing Joe on the floor, but Daniels caught him with a DDT on the mat 10 minutes 10 seconds. Joe performed the overhead suplex onto Daniels into the corner at 11 minutes. Joe went for the muscle buster, but Angle returned and attempted to German suplex Joe while Styles was still on his shoulders. Styles wisely abandoned ship, and even though the move looked clunky, Daniels tried to climb the ladder, but Angle pulled him down and applied the ankle lock. Daniels tapped out, but of course it's not a tap out or submission match, so nothing going there. Later, Daniels made another play for what it is actually a clipboard, according to Mike Tenay, but Joe and Angle pushed the ladder out from underneath him. Joe and Angle took turns upping each other with suplexes on Daniels. Angle set up a ladder, and Joe slid Daniels through it so that he was resting halfway up. They took turns kicking Daniels in the gut. Joe and Angle finally went after each other. Angle tossed Joe to the floor and tried to climb the ladder, but Daniels, who was still in between the rungs, held Joe's leg. Joe recovered and brought in another ladder. Joe and Angle fought on the top of the ladders. Joe got the better of the exchange and was going for the clipboard when Styles springboarded his way onto the ladder and took the clipboard down off, and he fell off with it, almost landing on Angle. So AJ defeated Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and Kurt Angle in a ladder match to earn 20 points in a BFG series. A highly entertaining ladder match with some wild spots, physically punishing offense, big bumps, really fun moments, a cool finish. But what is hardcore matches supposed to give you? It was also good to hear the announcers acknowledge that while Styles is now in 7th place, he still has matches in his hands. Granted, I wish they showed how many matches in the graphic, but you can look at the website for that, as they show on there. It was a nice touch. This was easily the match of the night thus far, which shouldn't surprise anyone. It definitely lived up to lofty expectations. Backstage, Jeremy Borash interviewed Bobby Roode. Borash replayed a fan question as to whether Roode is afraid of Austin Aries. Roode said he's not afraid of anyone, including Aries. He stressed that Aries winning was not more than F-L-U-K-E. If you don't know what that spells fluke. He said it's time to start living his life again and to become the TNA champion again. And a video package set up the main event. Mike Tenay ran through the tail of the tape. And of course, all the advantages go to Bobby Roode. He's got the height, he's got the weight, and he's got the arm length. But let's see what happens in the main event. Ring entrances for both guys took place. And of course, Jeremy Borash replaced Christy Hemme as the ring announcer for the main event. Borash delivered the in-ring reintroductions for the TNA Championship match. Match number 8 of your pay-per-view and your main event, also a double versus Bobby Roode for the TNA title. They went face-to-face. Roode jawed at Aries, who responded by spitting water in his face. Tenay quickly pointed out that it was a payback for what happened on Impact. Aries had the first prolonged series of offense, which ended when he missed a dive off the top to the floor and collided with a guardrail. Roode picked him up and ran him into another part of the guardrail. Back inside the ring, Roode was only able to get a 1 count on Aries. Roode put the boots to Aries in the corner. As dueling chants started, with a portion of the crowd, Aries won the battle. Rude picked Aries up in a suplex position and dropped him on top rope. Rude followed up with a suplex after letting him go. And it was like a half suplex. He's already there. Boom, coming back. Rude remained on offense despite being unable to put Aries away. He stood over Aries and taunted him at 9 minutes 40 seconds in. And put the boots to him again. Aries fired back with an elbow and a punch, but Rude knocked him down with a knee to the gut again for another 2 count. Rude applied the leg scissors and Aries around Aries and Aries' gut and held it for a bit. A resting hold. They got back to their feet and Aries charged at Rude, who caught him again and slammed him into the turnbuckle. There he tied him up in a tree of woe. Worst name ever. Aries held on to Rude's head, pushed himself off, and executed a stunner style type move. A double comes back with a series of punches. At ringside, A double caught a seated Rude with a nice running drop kick. He rolled him back inside the ring and got a 2 count. Aries then applied the last chancery with all the enthusiasm of a headlock call. Taz noted that Aries applied that submission last. Slight pause, chancery. Rude broke free, but Aries came back with a crossface. Aries managed to get to his feet and took Aries down with a backbreaker. Rude followed up with a crossface on his own. The fans were well into the match now, but they didn't think either crossface was the finish. Based on their lack of reaction, Aries eventually broke free and connected with a missile drop kick and then a running drop kick in the corner. A double sets up for the brain buster at 8 minutes 30 seconds, but Rude countered with a spine buster for a good near fall. He sets up the spine buster from the brain buster, and that's one of Rude's finishers. Later, Aries went for the 450 splash, but Rude got his knees up. Rude went for the spear, but Aries moved, and Rude took out the referee with a referee bump with a spear. A double went for a spinning punch, but Rude speared him and had him pinned. Of course, no referee for like 20, 30 seconds. Second referee comes in and tries to make the count, but Aries kicks out at 2. Second referee was bumped in the corner after about a minute in the ring. Aries dodged a running Rude and then caught him with a kick to the head and then a brain buster. Both referees are almost coming back to their feet. Aries makes a cover. The original referee recovered and made a slow count, which Rude kicked out at the last moment. Rude went to top rope. As the crowd chanted their support, Rude got up and fell into the ropes, which led to Aries crouching himself on the top rope. Rude suplexed Aries, who hooked Rude's legs. Kind of like fisherman suplex, but the shoulders of both men are down. Like I said, the referees were getting up, and they both count 1, 2, 3 simultaneously. Both referees say both of them win. One referee thought Rude won, the other referee thought Aries won. Rude took the title and tried to escape, leaving the ring, but senior referee Earl Screwjob Hebner came out and took the title belt away from him momentarily. And Hebner stood on the floor and listened as the other referees made their cases. And, of course, he's got the microphone in his ear, and somebody's talking to him. Earl ruled that the match would restart. Because I believe he was going to call it a draw at first, because the other guys would say draw. Of course, the fans wanted the match to continue. A double went for a suicide dive as the match restarted with a bell ding ding ding. But Rude hit him off with a title belt as he was trying to get out the ring. Rude rolled Aries back inside the ring and went for the cover, but Aries kicks out at 2. Rude bickered with the referee, Brian Hebner. Rude got Aries to his knees, but then a double rolled Rude up and scored a clean pin to win the match. Rude sold his frustration as he doesn't have a rematch because he lost, and announced a stretch that Rude can't get a rematch I had predicted the end when I first saw the first referee bump, and the second referee coming in get a small bump as the first referee regrouped, and then they both counted the shoulders down from both guys. Okay. So they restarted the match, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. My prediction was that they wouldn't. They would have another rematch again because of stipulation. It would have ended up in a draw, so they didn't lose, they didn't win, so he would still get a rematch. But they surprised me with the rematch, and a double retains. And then they showed a commercial airing for September 9th, TNA No Surrender pay-per-view. Yeah, NFL fans, there's a pay-per-view on the first Sunday night of the season. So, competition for ratings. I'm not surprised about the outcome of the match, as I already predicted. I guess we have to start looking at AEW versus one of the BFG series contenders as the main event for Bound for Glory, rather than the Rude versus Storm match that felt like a lock before Aries won the title at Destination X, which can still actually happen because the Bound for Glory series is not over yet. The top 4 guys still have a chance. Of course, the top guy. Okay, let's see, what else do I have in here? The main event was entertaining, and the finish almost felt like a play on bad TNA finishers from the past. It felt like a bit unnecessary, but at least we ended up getting a real finish rather than old school TNA nonsense. Overall, the last 2 matches delivered in a big way and made the save for the show. And that ends my pay-per-view rant. Stay tuned for tomorrow night's Raw. Yes, 3 hours again. But can it get ratings? That's also the Dallas Cowboys in preseason action on their first preseason week. Stay tuned for more. Who will win? The Cowboys, Monday Night Football, and also Monday Night Raw 3-hour show.